Jake Morrison never expected that a simple Tuesday dinner would change everything. The former Marine, weathered by war and widowhood, just wanted to take his 8-year-old daughter Emily somewhere quiet after her school play. The diner on Maple Street wasn't much vinyl booths, checkered floors, the smell of grease and coffee, but it was theirs. The waitress who approached their table moved like someone trying not to be seen. Lily Chen, her name tag said, kept her eyes down, apologizing for things that weren't mistakes. Her hands trembled when she set down the water glasses. Jake noticed. You don't survive 3 tours without learning to read fear. Then the door opened. A man in a $10,000 suit walked in, flanked by 2 security guards. The diner went silent. Every head turned, except Lily's, which dropped lower. "You're embarrassing yourself," the man said, his voice carrying the weight of boardrooms and broken wills. "And me. This ends tonight." Lily's father. Robert Hale. Billionaire. Controller of industries. Controller of daughters. Jake stood up. His chair scraped against linoleum. Emily's small hand found his. "She needs help, Daddy," she whispered. The veteran who'd sworn he was done fighting looked at the trembling waitress, then at the man who thought money made him invincible. "No," Jake said quietly. "She needs freedom." The afternoon light slanted through Jake's kitchen window, catching dust motes that danced like tiny ghosts. Emily sat at the table, still wearing her flower costume from the school play, construction paper petals slightly crushed from her enthusiastic bows. "Daddy, can we go somewhere nice?" she asked, swinging her legs. "To celebrate?" Jake dried the last dish, considering. Nice meant different things now than it used to, before Afghanistan. Before Sarah died in the bombing that made him a widower at 32. Nice now meant safe, quiet, uncomplicated. "How about Rosie's Diner?" he offered. Emily's face lit up. "The one with the milkshakes that have the cherry on top? That's the one." 20 minutes later, Jake pulled his truck into the gravel lot. Rosie's Diner had been there since the 50s, a chrome-sided relic that refused to modernize. The neon sign buzzed, one letter flickering. Inside, red vinyl booths lined the windows. A jukebox in the corner played songs from before Jake was born. "Booth or counter?" Jake asked. "Booth," Emily decided. "The one by the window, where I can see the lights." They slid into the corner booth. Emily immediately pressed her face to the glass, watching cars pass on Maple Street. Jake picked up the laminated menu, though he'd memorized it years ago. Tuesday special, meatloaf and mashed potatoes. He'd get that. Emily would order chicken tenders and only eat half. The waitress approached from the kitchen's direction. She was young, mid-20s. Jake guessed, with dark hair pulled back in a ponytail. Her uniform was clean but worn. The name tag pinned crookedly to her chest read Lily in faded letters. "Good evening," she said softly, setting down 2 water glasses. Her hand shook slightly, water sloshing. "I'm so sorry, let me—" "It's fine," Jake said. "No spill, we're good." She looked up briefly, surprised. Brown eyes, tired. The kind of tired that came from more than long shifts. "Thank you," she whispered, then caught herself. "I mean, what can I get you?" Emily ordered her chicken tenders with extra ketchup. Jake ordered the meatloaf. Lily wrote it down with careful precision, like someone afraid of making mistakes. As she turned to go, her phone buzzed in her apron pocket. Her whole body went rigid. She pulled it out, glanced at the screen, and her face drained of color. "Excuse me," she said to no one in particular, and hurried toward the back. Jake watched her go. Old instincts kicked in, the ones that read body language and calculated threats. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Emily tugged his sleeve. "Daddy, is the lady okay?" "I don't know, sweetheart. She seems sad." Jake looked at his daughter Sarah's eyes, his stubborn chin, a heart bigger than both of them combined. "Sometimes people carry heavy things," he said. Through the kitchen's window, he could see Lily's silhouette. She was on the phone, one hand pressed to her forehead. Even from this distance, he could see her shoulders shaking. 10 minutes later, she brought their food. The chicken tenders were arranged in a smiley face. Emily giggled, but Lily's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Enjoy your meal," she said, already backing away. The diner was half full. A couple at the counter, a construction crew in a booth, an older woman reading a newspaper. Normal. Mundane. Safe. Then the door opened. The black Mercedes S-Class pulled up outside with the precision of military vehicles. Jake noticed it immediately. Too clean. Too expensive for this neighborhood. The kind of car that came with drivers and agendas. Two men in dark suits exited first. Security. Jake recognized the type: private contractors, former military or cops, paid to look intimidating and follow orders without questions. They flanked the rear door. The man who emerged moved like someone used to paths clearing before him. 60-ish, silver hair swept back. Suit that cost more than Jake's truck. His shoes clicked on the diner's linoleum as he entered. The jukebox was playing "Stand By Me." It seemed suddenly ironic. The diner's chatter died. Robert Hale didn't look around. He knew exactly where his daughter was: in the kitchen, hiding. "Lily," he called. Not loud. He didn't need to be loud. Authority carried. In the kitchen, through the window, Jake saw Lily freeze. Her hand went to her mouth. "Lily Chen Hale," Robert said, adding the surname like a chain. "Come out here." She emerged slowly, removing her apron with shaking hands. Every eye in the diner was on her. The construction workers looked down at their plates. The couple at the counter suddenly found their coffee fascinating. "Dad," Lily said, "what are you doing here?" "What am I doing?" Robert's laugh had no humor in it. "The question is, what are you doing?" "My daughter, my only child, serving meatloaf to truck drivers?" Jake felt Emily's hand tighten around his arm. "I like my job," Lily said quietly. "You like embarrassing me." Robert stepped closer. "You like making me look like a failure in front of my associates. Like I can't control my own family." "I'm not trying to. You have a master's degree from Princeton. You could be running divisions of my company. Instead, you're here. In this." He gestured around with distaste. "Two. Place." Lily's voice cracked. "I didn't want to run your divisions. I wanted my own life." "Your life?" Robert's voice turned cold. "The apartment you live in, I pay for it. The car you drive, my gift. Your college loans cleared by my checkbook. You don't have a life separate from me. You have my generosity, which you're abusing." One of the security guards shifted, hand moving to his belt. Jake tracked it. Not a gun, probably, a taser or pepper spray. These weren't killers, just enforcers. "I've been patient," Robert continued. "I let you have your little rebellion. But Marcus Thornton's proposal is on the table. His family's merger with mine would be worth $800 million. You will accept his proposal. You will come home." "Tonight." Lily's tears fell silently. "Marcus doesn't love me." "Love." Robert said the word like it was profanity. "Love is what poor people use to justify their failures. You will marry strategically, live comfortably, and stop this nonsense." Emily whispered, "Daddy." Jake had been watching, calculating, remembering why he'd left the military: because orders and obedience could break people. Because power without compassion was just cruelty. He stood up. The scrape of his chair cut through the tension like a knife. "Excuse me," Jake said. Robert turned, noticing him for the first time. His eyes swept over Jake, the faded jeans, the worn flannel shirt, the calloused hands. Dismissal was instant. "This doesn't concern you. I'm a customer in this establishment," Jake said evenly. "And you're disturbing my daughter's dinner." "Your daughter?" Robert glanced at Emily, then back at Jake with contempt. "Then teach her not to listen to other people's conversations. I'm teaching her that respect isn't optional, regardless of how much money someone has." The diner went quieter, if that was possible. Robert's jaw tightened. "Do you know who I am?" "Yes," Jake said. You're a father who forgot that children aren't assets. And you're a nobody trying to play hero. Robert nodded to his security. Escort this man out. Dad, please don't. Lily started. Quiet. Robert silenced her with a look. The first security guard approached Jake. Big guy, 6'3", probably 220. He reached for Jake's arm. Muscle memory took over. Jake sidestepped, caught the man's wrist, and used his momentum to guide him face first into the booth's table. Not hard enough to injure. Hard enough to educate. The second guard reached for his taser. Don't, Jake said quietly. You won't make it halfway. The guard hesitated. Something in Jake's voice, the absolute certainty of someone who'd been in real fights, made him stop. Emily clutched her stuffed rabbit, eyes wide. Robert's composure cracked. Do you have any idea what I can do to you? I own half this city. I can make one phone call, and what? Jake interrupted. Have me arrested for defending someone? Have your lawyers bury me? Maybe. He stepped closer. But I've been shot at by people scarier than you. I've held dying friends in my arms. I've been to hell and walked back. You don't intimidate me. For the first time, Robert Hale had no response. Lily was crying openly now. I'm sorry, she said. I'm so sorry, everyone. Don't apologize, Jake said without looking at her. You did nothing wrong. Robert's face flushed red. This isn't over. It is for tonight, Jake said. The billionaire stared at Jake for a long moment, then turned to his daughter. You have 48 hours. After that, I'll cut every account. You'll lose everything. He left, security trailing behind. The Mercedes pulled away, taillights disappearing into the night. The diner remained silent. Then Emily slid out of the booth and walked over to Lily, who was standing frozen, tears streaming down her face. Are you okay? Emily asked, holding out her stuffed rabbit. You can hold Mr. Hops if it helps. He's good for sad. Lily sank to her knees and pulled Emily into a hug, sobbing. Jake put his hand on Lily's shoulder. Come on, he said gently. Let's get you somewhere safe. Jake's truck rattled over potholes as they drove through the city's outskirts. Lily sat in the passenger seat, clutching Mr. Hops. Emily was in the back, unusually quiet. I shouldn't have involved you, Lily said finally. He'll come after you now. He always does. Let him. You don't understand. My father doesn't lose. Ever. Jake glanced at her. Everyone loses eventually. The question is what they lose, their power or their humanity. He's already lost the second one. They drove past closed storefronts and flickering streetlights. This part of town was forgotten, which made it cheap. Jake's apartment was in a converted warehouse, industrial windows, exposed brick. The kind of place that was charming in real estate listings and barely heated in reality. He parked in the alley behind the building. It's not much, he warned as they climbed the stairs. The apartment was sparse. A couch with a throw blanket. A kitchen table with mismatched chairs. Emily's drawings covered the refrigerator. Photos of Sarah were carefully arranged on one shelf, a shrine to a life that ended too soon. Daddy, can Lily sleep in my room? Emily asked. She can have my sleeping bag. I can't impose, Lily started. You're not imposing, Jake said. Emily, get the sleeping bag from the closet. I'll make tea. While the water boiled, Lily sat at the kitchen table, looking lost. Jake noticed she was still gripping Mr. Hops. How long has he been controlling you? Jake asked quietly. Lily looked up, startled by the directness. Then something in her broke. Always. I thought going to college across the country would help. But he paid for everything. Tuition, apartment, clothes. Every dollar came with strings. When I graduated, he expected me to come work for him. I said no. I wanted to teach, or write, or anything that was mine. He said I was being ungrateful, so you became a waitress. I thought if I could support myself, prove I didn't need his money, he'd finally see me as a person instead of a possession. But he owns the landlord of my building. He has connections everywhere. When I applied for teaching jobs, calls were made. Doors closed. The diner was the only place that hired me, and only because the owner didn't care about my father's influence. Jake set a mug of tea in front of her. And Marcus Thornton? His family owns a pharmaceutical company. Dad wants to merge operations. Marcus is 43, divorced twice, and sees me as a trophy. We've met 3 times. Each time, he talked about my potential as a corporate wife and how many charity galas we'd attend. She laughed bitterly. He never asked what I wanted. Emily emerged with the sleeping bag, dragging it across the floor. "Did you know my daddy was a hero?" she asked Lily. "Emily, he was. Mommy told me before Emily's voice went quiet. Before the bad thing happened, she said Daddy saved people." Lily looked at Jake with new understanding. "Your wife?" "Contractor for the Army Corps of Engineers," Jake said, his voice carefully flat. "She was helping rebuild a school in Kabul when a suicide bomber hit the convoy. She died, protecting 2 Afghan children." He paused. "I was on my 3rd tour. Got the call from my commanding officer. They sent me home to bury her. I'm so sorry. I tell Emily stories about her mother. The funny ones, the brave ones. I want her to know Sarah's whole life. Not just the end of it." Lily wiped her eyes. "Your daughter is lucky to have you. I'm lucky to have her. She reminds me why I keep going." Jake picked up his own mug. "What about your mother?" Lily's face closed. "I don't remember her. She left when I was 3. Dad never talks about her. He had all her photos removed from the house, like she never existed. People don't erase someone unless they're trying to erase pain or guilt," Lily said softly. They sat in silence, drinking tea. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance. The city never really slept. Emily yawned. "Daddy, I'm tired. Bedtime, kiddo. Brush teeth, then I'll read you a story." After Emily was tucked in, Jake returned to find Lily staring at Sarah's photos. "She was beautiful," Lily said. "She was stubborn and funny. And she never let me get away with brooding." Jake smiled at the memory. "She'd be yelling at me right now for getting involved in someone else's family drama. Would you listen?" "No, she'd know that too." "That's why she'd be yelling." Lily laughed a real laugh, surprised out of her. Then her face fell. "I have to figure out what to do. 48 hours until he cuts me off. I have maybe $800 saved. That won't last long. What do you want to do?" If money wasn't an issue, she was quiet for a long time. "I used to write. Short stories, poetry. I had a journal full of them before Dad found it. He said writing was a hobby, not a career." He threw the journal away. "Did you stop writing?" "I tried. But stories kept coming back. I'd write on napkins during my breaks. On receipt paper. Anywhere. I have a shoebox full of scraps. Then you're still a writer. Everything else is just logistics." Lily looked at him with something close to hope. "You really believe that?" "I believe people are what they choose to be, not what others make them." She smiled, tentative, fragile, but real. Outside Jake's window, the city lights blurred into constellations. And for the first time in years, the apartment didn't feel quite so empty. Morning came with pale light and the smell of coffee. Jake woke on the couch, his back reminding him he wasn't 25 anymore. Voices drifted from the kitchen, Emily's bright chatter, and Lily's softer responses. He found them making pancakes, or trying to. Flour dusted Emily's nose. Lily was laughing at the misshapen blob in the pan. "Daddy, we're making breakfast," Emily announced. "Lily showed me how to crack eggs." "I see that." Jake surveyed the damage. "Should I be worried about the ceiling?" Lily grinned. "Only moderately." They ate the pancakes burned on one side, raw in the middle, and pretended they were delicious. It was the best breakfast Jake had eaten in months. Afterward, while Emily was distracted with cartoons, Lily's phone buzzed. She looked at it and went pale. "What is it?" Jake asked. She showed him. A text from an unknown number. "Last chance. Come home, or consequences begin." "He's not going to stop," Lily whispered. "No," Jake agreed. "Men like him never do. So we don't wait for him to make the next move." "What do you mean?" "You need income. You need independence. We find you a job today somewhere your father doesn't control." They spent the morning calling small businesses, cafes, bookstores, anywhere that wouldn't care about Robert Hale's influence. Most places weren't hiring. Two hung up when Lily mentioned her name. Finally, a woman named Margaret at a bookshop on the east side said, "Come in this afternoon. I need someone who can actually talk about books instead of just ringing them up." The bookshop, chapter and verse, was crammed into a building older than Jake. Books overflowed shelves, stacked on floors, piled on windowsills. It smelled like paper and possibility. Margaret was 70 if she was a day, with white hair in a messy bun and reading glasses on a chain. "You're Robert Hale's daughter," she said bluntly. Lily's hope crumbled. "Yes. Good. I can't stand that pompous ass. Tried to buy this building 10 years ago to tear it down for condos. I told him where he could put his offer." Margaret cackled. "You can start tomorrow, minimum wage, but you can eat the cookies I bake on Thursdays." Lily nearly cried. "Thank you. Don't thank me yet. We're doing inventory this week. Your back will hate me." That night, Jake tucked Emily into bed. She'd insisted Lily read her a story, something about a princess who saved herself. "Daddy," Emily said sleepily, "is Lily going to stay with us? For a little while. Until she finds her own place. I hope she stays longer. She's nice. And sad. But less sad than yesterday." Jake kissed her forehead. "Get some sleep, kiddo." In the living room, Lily was on the couch, staring at her phone. "Everything okay?" Jake asked. "My father's lawyers sent documents. If I don't sign over power of attorney by tomorrow, they're filing a petition to declare me mentally unfit to manage my own affairs." Jake's jaw tightened. "Can they do that? With enough money and the right doctors? Probably. He'll claim I'm having a breakdown, that I need help. Once he gets power of attorney, I'll be trapped. So we fight it. With what? I can't afford a lawyer. He has an entire firm." Jake was quiet for a moment. Then, "I know someone." The lawyer's office was above a bail bondsman in a part of town where people didn't ask questions. Helen Reyes had been JAG Corps before going civilian, sharp-eyed, sharp-tongued, and utterly unimpressed by wealth. "Robert Hale," she said, leaning back in her chair. "I've wanted to take a case against that bastard for years." "Can you win?" Lily asked. "Can I guarantee it?" "No." "Can I make him miserable?" "Absolutely." Helen tapped her pen on the desk. "Here's what we do. We file a restraining order, harassment, emotional abuse, coercive control. We submit your bank records showing you're financially independent now. We get testimony from your employer, neighbors, anyone who can confirm you're of sound mind. What if he retaliates? Then we document it and use it against him. Men like Hale believe they're untouchable. That's their weakness." They spent 3 hours going over details. By the end, Lily looked exhausted but determined. Helen walked them out. "One more thing. If he comes near you, call the police. Every interaction needs to be on record." Jake drove Lily to chapter and verse for her first shift. She hesitated before getting out. "What if this doesn't work?" she asked quietly. "Then we try something else, and something after that. We don't stop trying." She squeezed his hand. "Thank you." Inside the bookshop, Margaret put Lily to work immediately, shelving returns and helping customers. Jake watched through the window for a moment, Lily recommending a novel to an older gentleman, her face lighting up as she talked about the story. She belonged here. In this place that smelled like paper and possibility. Jake's phone rang. Unknown number. "Yes, Mr. Morrison." The voice was cultured, cold. "Robert Hale. I wanted to thank you for taking such good care of my daughter." She's not property, Mr. Hale. No. She's family. Which makes this a family matter. You inserted yourself where you don't belong. That has consequences. Is that a threat? It's a fact. I've already made some calls. Your landlord is raising your rent. Your employer, I believe you work at Morrison Construction, is being audited by the IRS. Just coincidences, of course. Jake's hand tightened on the phone. You think making my life difficult will make me abandon her? I think eventually you'll realize this isn't your fight. You're a single father with a young daughter. Surely you have better things to do than play hero for a troubled young woman. Your daughter isn't troubled. She's trapped. There's a difference. Semantics. Robert's voice turned to ice. This is your last warning. Walk away. No. Silence. Then you're more foolish than I thought. Goodbye, Mr. Morrison. The line went dead. Jake stood on the sidewalk, watching traffic pass. He could walk away. Should walk away. Robert Hale had the resources to make his life hell. To hurt Emily by extension, but he thought of Lily's face when she talked about books. Of Emily asking why people couldn't just be nice to each other. He thought of Sarah, who died protecting children who weren't hers. Some battles found you whether you wanted them or not. Jake walked into the bookshop. Lily looked up from the register, saw his face, and immediately understood. He called you, she said. Yes. What did he say? That I should walk away. Fear flashed across her face. Maybe you should. I can't ask you to. You didn't ask. I'm choosing. But Emily is learning that standing up for people matters more than staying comfortable. That's a lesson worth teaching. Lily's eyes filled with tears. I don't deserve this. Probably not. We're all getting more than we deserve. Jake managed to smile. Some of us are just luckier in which direction. Margaret emerged from the back room with a tray of cookies. You two look like you need sugar and a plan. Come on. They sat in the bookshop's storage room, surrounded by boxes of new releases, and planned their next move. The retaliation came systematically. Jake's rent increased by $800, legally questionable, practically enforceable. His construction company lost 3 major contracts in 1 week, all with vague explanations about going in a different direction. Lily's apartment building was sold to a development company that immediately issued eviction notices to all tenants. Helen Reyes filed the restraining order. Robert Hale's lawyers filed a countersuit for defamation. He's trying to drown us in paperwork, Helen explained. Standard tactic. Make it too expensive and exhausting to fight. But Lily had something Robert hadn't accounted for. She wasn't alone. Margaret let her stay in the apartment above the bookshop, tiny, cramped, but hers. Jake's construction crew, men who'd worked with him for years, took pay cuts to keep the company afloat. Neighbors in Jake's building started a petition against the rent increase. Small acts of resistance, drops of water against stone. Emily seemed oblivious to the tension. She'd started writing stories with Lily, tales of brave knights and dragons, of princesses who wore armor instead of gowns. Lily says I'm a good writer, Emily told Jake one night. She says stories can change the world. Lily's right. Did Mommy write stories? Your mother wrote letters. To me, to her family. To you before you could even read. She said putting words on paper made feelings real. Emily considered this. I'm going to write a story about someone who saves people. Like you and Mommy. Jake pulled her close. I'd like to read that. A week after the restraining order was filed, Robert sent his response. A leather folder, delivered by a man in a suit. Jake opened it at his kitchen table. Inside were photos him leaving his apartment. Emily walking to school. Lily entering the bookshop. Time-stamped. Annotated. A single typed note. Everyone you care about is visible. Jake's hands shook not with fear, but rage. This was a line crossed. He called Helen. He's having us followed. That's harassment. Document everything. Save the photos, the note, all of it. What if he goes after Emily? Helen's voice softened. Then he's committed a felony. But Jake? Men like Hale don't get their hands dirty. He's trying to scare you. It's working. Good. Fear means you're being careful. Just don't let it make you reckless. That night, Jake sat on the fire escape outside his window, watching the street below. Looking for watchers. Lily found him there an hour later. She'd come over with dinner takeout from the Thai place on the corner. "You okay?" she asked. "Honestly, no." She sat beside him on the metal grating. Below, the city moved, cars and people and lives intersecting. "I keep thinking I should disappear," Lily said quietly. "Change my name, move somewhere he can't find me. Then you and Emily would be safe, and you'd be running for the rest of your life. Better than putting you in danger." Jake was quiet for a long moment. "After Sarah died, I thought about leaving. Taking Emily somewhere far away, where nothing could hurt us again. But Helen, my old therapist from the VA, she said something I'll never forget. She said hiding from pain doesn't heal it. It just postpones the infection." "What did you do?" "I stayed. I went to grief counseling. I let neighbors help with Emily. I stopped pretending I could do everything alone." He looked at her. "Running isn't the answer, Lily. Fighting is. Even when it's scary. Especially then." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "I'm so tired of being scared." "I know." Jake put his arm around her. "But you're not alone in it anymore." They sat there as the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Two broken people, holding each other together. Inside, Emily was singing to herself, making up words to a tune only she knew. Life, insisting on continuing. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A woman named Claire Davidson called the bookshop asking for Lily. Margaret handed over the phone with a questioning look. "Hello?" Lily said cautiously. "You don't know me," the woman said. "But I knew your mother." Lily's world tilted. "My mother? I worked for your father 25 years ago. I was there the day Catherine left. I was there when he erased every trace of her." Claire's voice was heavy. "I've kept silent too long. If you want to know the truth, meet me." They met at a coffee shop on the edge of town. Jake insisted on coming, staying close but giving them space. Claire was in her 60s, gray-haired, with kind eyes that had seen too much. "Your mother was brilliant," Claire began. "A painter. She had a gallery show lined up when she got pregnant with you. Your father promised to support her art. He lied." Lily's hands trembled around her coffee cup. "The moment you were born, Robert changed. He wanted Catherine to be a society wife. Charity lunches, corporate events, perfect and silent. She tried. God. She tried. But every time she picked up a paintbrush, he'd schedule something else. Every time she talked about her dreams, he'd dismiss them. Why didn't she fight back? She did. Quietly. She kept painting in secret, storing canvases in my garage. She was planning to leave, had money saved, an apartment lined up. But Robert found out. He threatened to take you, said no judge would give custody to an unstable artist over a wealthy businessman. He said she'd never see you again." Lily wiped her eyes. "So she left without me. She left to protect you. Robert said if she disappeared completely, no contact, no attempts to see you, he'd let her go. Otherwise, he'd destroy her in court and make sure you grew up believing she'd abandoned you." Claire pulled out an envelope. "She's been writing to you. Every birthday, every Christmas. I've kept them safe." Lily opened the envelope with shaking hands. Dozens of letters spilled out. "My darling Lily. Asterisk. Today, you turned 5. I wonder if you still love strawberries. If you still sing made-up songs. I wonder if you know I think about you every single day. Asterisk. My dear girl. Asterisk. You're 10 today. Double digits. I imagine you're tall now, beautiful, brilliant. I hope someone is reading to you." showing you that the world is bigger than your father's walls. Asterisk. Letter after letter. Years of love, folded into paper. Lily couldn't stop crying. Jake moved closer, his hand on her back. "Where is she?" Lily managed to ask. "Living upstate. Teaching art at a community college. She made me promise not to contact you unless you came looking, or unless." Claire hesitated. "Unless you were in danger. When I saw the restraining order filed against your father, I knew it was time. Can I see her? She's been waiting 22 years to hear you ask that." The drive upstate took 3 hours. Emily came along, sensing somehow that this was important. She held Lily's hand in the back seat. Not asking questions, just being present. Catherine lived in a small house, surrounded by wildflowers. Her hair was silver-streaked. Her hands paint-stained. When she opened the door and saw Lily, she gasped. "You have my eyes," she whispered. "And your stubbornness, apparently." Lily's voice broke. "Why didn't you fight harder?" "Because he would have won. And you would have grown up in a war zone. I chose you over myself." Catherine reached out tentatively. "Can you forgive me?" Lily stepped into her mother's arms and sobbed. Jake stayed outside with Emily, giving them privacy. Emily picked dandelions from the lawn. "Daddy, why is everyone so sad?" "Because sometimes people lose each other. And finding each other again hurts almost as much as the losing did. But they found each other. That's good, right?" "Yeah, kiddo. That's very good." Inside, Catherine showed Lily her studio canvases everywhere, colors exploding across walls. 22 years of painting what she couldn't say aloud. "I have a whole series about you," Catherine said, gesturing to one wall. "Imagined portraits. What I thought you might look like at different ages." The paintings were beautiful and heartbreaking. A child Lily had never been. A teenager frozen in oil paint. A young woman her mother had never met. "You were close," Lily said, touching a canvas. "I did wear my hair like that in high school." They talked for hours about lost time and stolen years, about Robert's control and Catherine's regret. "He'll never stop," Catherine said finally. "I ran. And he let me go, only because I gave up every right to you. If you fight him openly, he'll do everything to break you. I know, but I have people helping me now. I'm not alone." Catherine looked through the window at Jake, who was teaching Emily how to blow dandelion seeds. "The veteran, Jake." "Yes. He didn't have to get involved. But he did. That kind of man is rare." Catherine squeezed her daughter's hand. "Don't let your father take this from you too." When they left that evening, Catherine gave Lily a small canvas, a painting of a bird breaking free from a cage. "For courage," she said. The drive home was quiet. Emily fell asleep against Lily's shoulder. Jake glanced in the rearview mirror at them. "You okay?" he asked. "I think so. It's strange I spent my whole life angry at her for leaving. Now I understand she left because she loved me." Lily stroked Emily's hair. "I can't imagine how hard that was. The hardest things usually are the most loving." Back in the city, Jake carried a sleeping Emily upstairs. Lily lingered by the truck. "Jake? Thank you. For driving me. For giving me space. For everything. You don't have to thank me. I do. Because most people would have walked away by now." She stepped closer. "Why haven't you?" Jake considered the question. "Because Emily asked me to help you. Because you remind me that some battles are worth fighting. Because..." He paused. "Because seeing you find your mother today reminded me that broken things can be mended, and I'd forgotten that." Lily kissed his cheek. "You're a good man." Jake Morrison. She disappeared into the bookshop's entrance before he could respond. Jake stood alone on the sidewalk, touching where she'd kissed him, feeling something shift in his chest. Hope. Terrifying and real. Robert Hale's lawyers requested a meeting. Neutral ground, a conference room in a downtown hotel. "It's a trap," Helen warned. "He wants to intimidate you in person." "Let him try," Lily said. They arrived together, Lily, Jake, and Helen. Robert was already there with 3 lawyers and his head of security. "Lily," Robert said, as if they were meeting for lunch. "You look well. Poverty suits you. I'm not here for small talk, Dad. No. You're here to negotiate." Robert slid a document across the table. "This is generous, considering your behavior. You'll receive a trust fund, $5 million, accessible when you turn 30. In exchange, you'll sign a non-disclosure agreement about our family business, cease all legal action against me, and publicly state that our disagreement was a misunderstanding." Lily didn't touch the document. "And if I refuse, then I'll ensure you never work in this city again. I'll sue your new friends," he glanced at Jake, "for interference and harassment. I'll tie you up in court for years. You'll spend your mother's twilight years watching her struggle because of your stubbornness." "You know where my mother is?" Robert smiled coldly. "I've always known. Did you think I'd lose track of my wife? I let her go because she was useful as a cautionary tale. Do you see what happens when you defy me?" Jake's fists clenched under the table. Helen put a warning hand on his arm. Lily stood up slowly. "I used to think you were powerful, that your money and connections made you untouchable. But you know what I see now?" She leaned forward. "A lonely old man who destroyed his family because he never learned the difference between control and love." Robert's face darkened. "Sit down." "No. I'm done taking orders from you. You can keep your money. I don't want anything that comes with strings. You'll regret this. Maybe. But at least my regrets will be mine." She walked out. Jake and Helen followed. In the elevator, Lily's hands shook. "Did I just make a huge mistake?" "No," Helen said. "You just won." "How?" "He's going to destroy us. He's going to try. But you called his bluff. Men like him need control. You just proved he doesn't have it anymore." Back at Jake's apartment, they found Emily with Jake's neighbor, Mrs. Chen, who'd been babysitting. Emily ran to Lily. "How did it go?" Emily asked. "I stood up to my father," Lily said. "Did he listen?" "No. But I said what I needed to say. That's what matters." Emily hugged her. "I'm proud of you." Later, after Emily was in bed, Jake and Lily sat on the fire escape again. Their spot now. "What happens next?" Lily asked. "He'll escalate. File more lawsuits, maybe. Try to get you evicted, fired. Make life as difficult as possible. And we just endure it? We document it. Every harassment, every threat. Eventually, he'll slip up. Men who think they're invincible always do." Lily leaned against him. "I'm scared." "Good. Fear keeps you sharp." Jake wrapped his arm around her. "But you're not facing it alone." They sat in silence, watching the city lights. Tomorrow would bring more battles. But tonight, there was peace. "Jake?" Lily said softly. "Yeah? When this is over, if we survive it, maybe we could have dinner?" "Just us?" Jake's heart stumbled. "Like a date?" "Like a date." He smiled. "I'd like that." "Good." She squeezed his hand. Something to fight for. The next 3 weeks were brutal. Robert filed a lawsuit claiming Lily had stolen proprietary information from his company. Baseless, but expensive to fight. Jake's construction company lost their business license due to clerical errors that took weeks to resolve. Someone spray-painted homewrecker on the bookshop's windows. Margaret cleaned it off without comment. But cracks were forming in Robert's armor. A reporter named Marcus Webb approached Helen. He'd been investigating Robert Hale's business practices for months. Labor violations, environmental negligence, bribery allegations. "I need someone willing to talk on record," Marcus said. "Someone who knows his personal methods." Lily agreed to an interview. The article ran in the Sunday Times with the headline, "The Price of Power: How Billionaire Robert Hale Controls His Daughter's Life." It detailed the financial manipulation, the isolation tactics, the forced engagement. It included quotes from Catherine, from former employees, from the owner of Rosie's Diner who witnessed the confrontation. The response was immediate. Social media exploded with hashtags. Number Free Lily trended. Other children of wealthy parents came forward with similar stories. A state senator called for an investigation into Robert's business dealings. Robert's carefully constructed image cracked wide open. His lawyers released a statement calling the article slanderous fiction. But the damage was done. Companies started quietly distancing themselves. Board members requested meetings. Investors made concerned calls. For the first time in his life, Robert Hale was losing control of the narrative. He showed up at Jake's apartment at midnight. No security, no lawyers. Just an old man in an expensive suit, looking diminished. Jake answered the door, blocking the entrance. "What do you want?" "To talk to my daughter. She doesn't want to see you. Please." The words seemed to physically hurt him. "I'm asking." Jake studied him for a long moment, then called over his shoulder. "Lily? Your father's here." Lily emerged from the spare room, wrapped in one of Jake's flannel shirts. She looked at Robert with guarded eyes. "Say what you came to say," she told him. Robert struggled visibly, pride warring with desperation. "I read the article, and I saw how others see me. How you see me." He paused. "How your mother saw me. What do you want, Dad? An apology? Forgiveness? I want to understand. When did I become the villain in your story?" Lily laughed bitterly. "You were always the villain. I just stopped pretending you weren't." Robert flinched. "I gave you everything. You gave me things. Not freedom. Not trust. Not love, without conditions. I loved you. You loved controlling me. There's a difference." Lily's voice softened slightly. "Did you love Mom?" The question hung between them. "I thought I did," Robert said finally. "I wanted to. But I didn't know how to love someone without owning them. By the time I realized what I'd lost, she was gone. And you blamed her. I blamed everyone but myself." Robert looked old suddenly. Tired. "The article called me a monster. Maybe it's right." "You're not a monster," Lily said quietly. "You're a man who chose power over people. That doesn't make you evil. It makes you sad." Robert's eyes glistened. "Can you forgive me?" "I don't know. Forgiveness isn't a switch I can flip because you finally feel bad." She wrapped her arms around herself. "You hurt me for years. You isolated me, manipulated me, tried to sell me like property. That doesn't go away because you read an article. What can I do? Leave me alone. Let me build my own life. Stop trying to control the outcome. And if I do that, will you ever speak to me again?" Lily considered. "Maybe. Someday. If you prove you've actually changed." Robert nodded slowly. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a checkbook. Lily tensed, but he set it on the table without opening it. "I'm not offering money. I'm offering information." He wrote an address. "This is where I'm having my will updated. If anything happens to me, you'll inherit everything. No conditions, no strings. It's yours to use or burn as you see fit. I don't want your money. I know. That's why I'm leaving it to you." He looked at Jake. "Take care of her." "Better than I did." "I'm not taking care of her," Jake said. "I'm standing beside her." "There's a difference." Robert almost smiled. "You're right. There is." He moved toward the door, then paused. "For what it's worth, Lily, I am proud of you. I wish I'd told you that before." He left. The door clicked shut behind him. Lily stood motionless for a long moment, then collapsed onto the couch, shaking. Jake sat beside her. Didn't speak. "Just present." "Is it over?" she whispered. "I don't know. But it's different now." She curled against him, and he held her while she cried not from sadness, but from the sheer exhaustion of years of pressure finally releasing. Emily padded out in her pajamas, clutching Mr. Hops. "Is Lily okay?" she asked. "She will be," Jake said. Emily climbed onto the couch, squeezing between them. She put Mr. Hops in Lily's arms. "He helps." Emily said simply. Lily laughed through her tears. He really does. They sat together, three people bound by circumstance, forming something like family. Outside, the city continued its endless movement. But inside this small apartment, time slowed to something manageable. Healing speed. 6 months later, the bookshop had expanded into the empty space next door. Margaret had made Lily a partner. Someone needs to run this place when I finally retire. Jake's construction company had not only recovered, but thrived. Word spread about the veteran who'd stood up to Robert Hale. Suddenly, everyone wanted to hire the man with principles. Emily was writing a book, a real one, with chapters and illustrations. Lily was helping her edit, and Lily was writing too. A memoir about control and freedom, about losing family and finding it again. A publisher was interested. She'd seen her mother twice more. They were building something slow and careful. Trust took time. Robert had kept his word. He stayed away. But Lily heard through the grapevine that he'd stepped down from several boards, was spending more time at his lake house. Some said he'd aged a decade in 6 months. She felt oddly sorry for him. On a Saturday morning in May, Lily stood in front of a small brick building with a for lease sign. Jake stood beside her, Emily between them. "You're really doing this?" Jake asked. "I'm really doing this." The space would be perfect: big windows, exposed brick, room for tables and bookshelves and a small kitchen. "Freedom Brew Cafe," Lily said, testing the name. "A place where people can read, write, talk, where stories happen." "I like it," Emily said. "Can I work here?" "You'll be my first employee." Official taste tester of cookies. "I'm very qualified." Jake squeezed Lily's hand. "Your mother would be proud." "She is. She's coming to the opening." Lily turned to him. "So are you, right?" "Wouldn't miss it." They'd been dating for 4 months now, slowly, carefully. Jake was teaching Lily to not fear commitment. Lily was teaching Jake that opening his heart again wasn't betraying Sarah's memory. It was messy and uncertain and absolutely right. "Daddy?" Emily tugged his sleeve. "Are you going to kiss her?" "You should kiss her, Emily." "It's okay," Lily said, grinning. "You should probably listen to your daughter." Jake kissed her there on the sidewalk, in front of the space that would become Freedom Brew, with Emily cheering and passers-by smiling. When they pulled apart, Lily was crying happy tears. "What?" Jake asked, concerned. "I just realized for the first time in my life, I'm exactly where I want to be. Here? With you, both of you. No one forcing me, no conditions, just choice." Emily hugged them both. "We're a family now, right?" Jake and Lily exchanged a look. "Yeah. Kiddo," Jake said. "I think we are." 3 months later, Freedom Brew had its grand opening. The cafe was packed. Margaret and her book club, Helen Reyes, with her partner, neighbors from Jake's building, Catherine standing near the art wall displaying her paintings. Even Claire Davidson came, bringing letters and stories about Catherine's early years. Marcus Webb wrote a follow-up article, From Control to Coffee, Lily Hale's Journey to Freedom, and in the back corner, at a table for one, sat Robert Hale. Lily noticed him immediately. Her first instinct was panic. Her second was anger. Her third was something close to peace. She walked over to his table. "Dad." "Lily." He looked uncomfortable, out of place among the casual crowd. "I hope it's all right that I came. I saw the announcement. It's a public space. You're allowed to be here. I'm proud of you." The words came easier this time. "This place, it's remarkable." Lily sat across from him. "Why did you come?" "Because I'm trying to be a better father. Even if it's 20 years too late." He gestured around. "You built this. Without my money, without my connections. Just your work and your vision, and help from people who believed in me." Robert nodded toward Jake, who was watching from the counter. "He's a good man. The best. Do you love him?" Lily didn't hesitate. "Yes." "Good." Robert was quiet for a moment. Your mother painted something for you. She asked me to give it to you." He slid a wrapped canvas across the table. Lily unwrapped it carefully. The painting showed two hands, one releasing a bird, one receiving it. Both hands were open. "She said you'd understand," Robert said. Lily traced the brushstrokes. "I do. Can I come back?" Robert asked quietly. "Not often. Just sometimes. To see how you're doing, on one condition. Name it. You have to order coffee and actually drink it. No special requests, no complaints. Just be a customer, like everyone else." Robert almost laughed. "I can do that. Then yes, you can come back." He stood to leave, then paused. "Thank you, Lily, for giving me another chance. Everyone deserves one. Even you." After he left, Jake came over with 2 coffees. "You okay?" "Better than okay." Lily looked around her cafe, at the people reading and laughing, at Emily helping Margaret stock shelves, at Catherine talking with customers about the paintings. "This is freedom," she said. "Not running away. Not being rescued. Just choosing my life and building it. Even when it's hard." Jake kissed her temple. "You did that yourself." "No. I had help." She looked up at him. "From a veteran who wouldn't walk away, even when it was dangerous. From an 8-year-old who reminded me, kindness matters. From everyone here." Emily bounded over. "Lily, a lady wants to talk to you about publishing. She says she read the article about you." As Lily stood to go meet with the publisher, she squeezed Jake's hand. "Stay close?" "Always." She walked toward her future, uncertain, uncontrolled, entirely her own. Outside the cafe's window, the city moved. Sunrise painted the brick buildings gold. A new day was beginning, and in Freedom Brew Cafe, surrounded by stories and coffee and people who chose to show up, Lily Hale was finally, completely free. The adoption papers were finalized on a Tuesday. Emily Morrison sat between Jake and Lily at the courthouse, swinging her legs, clutching a folder with her story manuscript inside. "Does this mean Lily is officially my mom now?" "Emily," asked the judge. The judge smiled. "If that's what you all want." Emily looked at Lily. "Do you want to be my mom?" Lily's eyes filled with tears. "More than anything, even though I already had a mom? And she was really brave and amazing?" "Your first mom was extraordinary," Lily said softly. "I'm not replacing her. I'm just adding to your family. Is that okay?" Emily considered this seriously, then nodded. "Mom Sarah would like you. You're both brave." The judge signed the papers. "Congratulations, Morrison family." Outside the courthouse, Catherine was waiting with a cake. Margaret brought champagne. Sparkling cider for Emily. Helen showed up with legal documents. "Just official copies for your records." Even Robert came, standing at the edge of the group, no longer the center but learning to be part of the circle. Freedom Brew had become a gathering place for the neighborhood story readings every Thursday, art shows monthly, a corner dedicated to veterans who needed community. Jake's construction company now employed 5 crews and was building affordable housing. Lily's memoir had sold to a major publisher. She was working on a novel. Emily's book × The Princess Who Saved Herself × was being published through a small press Margaret knew. They were building something together. Not perfect, not easy, but real. That night, tucking Emily into bed, Lily sat on the edge of the mattress. "Can I tell you something?" Emily said. "Anything. The night Daddy helped you at the diner, I was really scared. But I knew we had to do something." She held up Mr. Hops. "Mom Sarah used to tell me that brave doesn't mean not scared. It means being scared and doing the right thing anyway." Lily kissed her forehead. "Your mom, Sarah, was very wise. You're wise too. And Daddy. You're all wise together." After Emily fell asleep, Lily found Jake on the fire escape their spot. Still. "She called me Mom today," Lily said, wonder in her voice. "You are her mom, I know." But saying it out loud made it real. She leaned against him. Thank you. For that night at the diner. For standing up. For not walking away. You don't need to keep thanking me. I do, though. Because you changed my life. You and Emily both. Jake pulled her closer. You changed ours, too. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the city lights blur into constellations. Do you ever think about that night? Lily asked. When my father walked into the diner? Sometimes. Do you regret it? Getting involved? Jake considered the question. Below them, Freedom Brew's lights glowed warm against the darkness. Inside their apartment, Emily slept soundly, surrounded by stories. No, he said finally. Not for a second, even with everything that came after, especially because of everything that came after. He turned to face her. You taught me something important. What's that? That healing isn't about forgetting pain. It's about choosing to build something beautiful anyway. Lily kissed him soft, certain, free. Inside, Emily stirred in her sleep and smiled, dreaming of princesses who wore armor and dragons, who learned to be kind, and families who chose each other across all the distances life created. In the morning, Freedom Brew would open its doors. Customers would come seeking coffee and stay for community. Stories would be shared and written. Lives would intersect in the beautiful chaos of human connection. But tonight, on a fire escape overlooking a city that never stopped moving, 3 people who'd found each other in the midst of pain sat together in peace. Free. Finally, impossibly, wonderfully free.